when the world sleeps. Some stories wake up. In the stillness of midnight, forgotten voices begin to whisper. And tonight, let me ask you something. Have you ever heard footsteps on the roof of your car when you knew you were alone? If not, you're lucky. But Ray Hollister wasn't. The rest stop in the storm. Ray Hollister was a veteran long-haul trucker. For nearly 20 years, he'd driven through burning Nevada deserts, winding Appalachian passes, and stormy Texas highways. He had seen it all. Ghosts, just stories told around cold coffee and late-night fuel pumps. But that night was different. A blizzard was building across the Midwest. Weather alerts flashed red. Ray, on a delivery run to Denver, felt a familiar instinct kick in. Pull over, rest, wait out the worst. He turned off I-80 into a faded rest stop. The old sign flickered weakly. Only 2 other rigs were parked far apart in the lot, like they didn't want to acknowledge each other's presence. He shut off the engine. Cold seeped in immediately. Ray stepped out, boots crunching on the frozen asphalt. His breath came in clouds. The overhead light buzzed, casting long, distorted shadows. Then, he paused. His shadow wasn't alone. Ray wasn't the first to stop at mile 152 and vanish. Darlene, the waitress who wouldn't make eye contact. Inside the small diner, the lights were dim. It smelled of weak coffee and damp linoleum. Only one person. The waitress. Her name tag said Darlene. Her uniform was faded, her hair tied tight, dark circles under her eyes like she hadn't slept in days. She didn't smile, didn't speak, just poured coffee with trembling hands. Ray tried to make conversation. Something about the storm. No reply. She stared at the steam rising from the cup, silent. Finally, she looked up, but not at him. Her eyes were distant, as if she was listening to something behind the walls. Then she whispered, "If you hear knocking, don't open the door." Ray chuckled nervously. A truck stop joke, he thought. Darlene didn't smile, just looked at him for a long, hollow moment, then walked away. But what Darlene truly saw that night may not have been Ray at all. Static and the last signal. 1:57 a.m. Ray lay in the cab. Frost crawling along the windows. The wind howled like distant sirens. His breath fogged the air. Almost asleep. Click. The CB radio snapped to life. A broken voice crackled through layers of static. "Mile marker, 152. Don't let it take me, please, please." Ray jolted upright, grabbed the mic. "Hello? You okay? I'm at mile 152. Can you hear me?" Silence, then just static. He picked up his phone. No signal. Turned on the GPS. Blank screen. Everything. Dead, as if someone or something had unplugged the world. If you ever hear your name whispered through static, pray it's not standing right outside your truck. On the roof. Thud. A heavy sound from above. Ray froze. Breath caught in his throat. Not snow, not a branch. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate. Walking across the cab roof. Then they stopped, right above him. Silence. Ray reached for his pocket knife. Didn't breathe. Then came the scraping. Skrrr. Slow, long, like nails dragging across a coffin lid. Have you ever thought, if something was sitting on your roof, it's already watching you, through the metal, and it doesn't need to knock, it only needs to wait. No trace. 6:15 a.m. The storm had calmed. Snow blanketed the ground. Ray's truck was still there. Lights on, engine off, but no Ray, Investigators found no signs of struggle, no footprints, no blood, no break-in. Every electronic, phone, jeeps, radio, fried. Only one thing stood out. On the roof of the cab, the snow had melted in the shape of someone crouching. Face pressed downward, hands gripping the edge, like something had watched all night. They say every winter, a truck is left behind at mile 152. Engine cold, cab empty, no answers, just whispers. Ray Hollister didn't believe in ghosts. Now, he's part of the legend. You might say, I'd never stop there. But everyone who vanished said the same. Midnight murmurs, where every whisper hides a truth. Spoken in a whisper, slow and steady. There are places where night doesn't feel like night anymore, where shadows bend and the air itself seems to hesitate. Places where reality thins, like skin stretched too far, where darkness doesn't just hide you, it chooses who gets to come back. And on one of those nights, a man named Lawson stepped over and never came back. A routine drive. Lawson didn't believe in ghosts, but he did believe in patterns, and patterns don't just break. He was a veteran trucker, reliable, steady. He'd driven the same route from Arkansas to Oklahoma dozens of times. He didn't use GPS. He didn't need reminders. His body knew every turn like a lullaby. That night was quiet. Dry roads, no traffic, no storms. Everything pointed to normal. At 8:45 p.m., he called Marlowe, the dispatcher. Blue Mesa tonight, same spot. If you're around, swing by in the morning. I'll grab us hot coffee. He was never heard from again. The lights in the woods. At 9:30 p.m., other driver and Brantley pulled in 2 spaces away from Lawson's rig. He remembers there were lights, not from a car, not from a flashlight. It came from the woods, behind the lot. Pale, bluish white, pulsing, like veins under skin, cold light, too clean, too quiet. He watched for maybe 30 seconds, then locked his doors and shut his curtains. But he couldn't sleep. No one really did that night. The sound of metal tearing. 10 o'clock p.m. Maria Fuentes, a driver on the opposite end, walked back from the restrooms. The air was still, heavy, like something was watching. Then, she heard it, from behind Lawson's trailer. It sounded like someone was tearing metal with their bare hands. A shriek of tension, metal groaning, as if the trailer itself resisted. Maria froze, started walking faster, then slower. The sound stopped. She turned. The back of Lawson's truck was still. Too still. She thought she was alone, until she realized what she didn't see was exactly the problem. The frightening part wasn't the noise. It was the silence that followed. Like it knew. It had been noticed. Gone into thin air. Morning came. The sun was dim behind gray clouds. Light snow had fallen overnight. Lawson's rig was there, lights still faintly on. Engine off. Door locked from inside. No signs of struggle. No blood. No disturbance. No footprints leading away. Not a single trace. His dashboard clock was frozen. Exactly 10:04 p.m. The same time Maria heard the metal scream. And on the center console, a paper coffee cup. Still warm, just a missing man, and a silence too deep to be natural. A family warning of Tui. His wife, Ellen, told investigators something strange. Lawson's grandfather, also a long-haul driver, used to talk about places like Blue Mesa. He said there were things in the woods, things that feed on the exhausted, the lonely, the ones on the edge. Lawson laughed at those stories, called them bedtime boogeymen, until he became one. What the lights mean. Not all lights in the darkness lead to safety. Some are traps. Some are invitations. And some are warnings. If you ever find yourself parked in a place that's too quiet, and you see a pale blue-white light, not blinking like a bulb, but breathing like something alive, don't look, don't check, don't tell anyone, because if it looks back at you, it will remember your face. Midnight Murmurs. Stories you were never meant to hear alone.